everyone around Diddy ends up dead or in jail. For 3 decades, Sean Diddy Combs has sold us the American dream, remixed and repackaged for the masses. He sold us a fantasy spun from ambition and audacity. Hustle hard, shine harder, and one day you too can own a yacht big enough to park a Tesla on, with champagne flutes that never empty. While the champagne's still fizzing, though, a darker pattern has emerged. While the legend of Diddy grew, the bodies kept dropping. Tupac Shakur, the notorious B.I.G. Kim Porter, Andre Harrell, Black Rob Craig Mack. The list gets longer with each passing year. Every time the spotlight swings back to Diddy, it feels like a gravitational pull, a black hole, and someone in his immediate orbit disappears, either into a jail cell or a casket. Is it just a string of unbelievable bad luck? A series of tragic coincidences? Or is standing next to Sean Combs the modern equivalent of playing Russian roulette with a fully loaded chamber? Tonight, we cut through the noise, follow the paper trail, the court dates, and the closed caskets to ask one simple, haunting question. Is everyone around Diddy doomed to end up dead or in jail? The City College Prelude. The story begins not in a boardroom, but in a gymnasium. November 1991. The City College gym in Harlem is dangerously overstuffed. 5,000 kids, buzzing with energy, are packed into a space meant for half that number, all to see hip-hop royalty, Heavy D and Big Daddy Kane. The event was promoted by a hungry 22-year-old kid named Sean Combs. He had the vision, he had the hype, but he allegedly overlooked the warnings. Fire inspectors, seeing the disaster waiting to happen, begged for clear exits and better crowd control. Their pleas were ignored. When the doors finally opened, the crowd surged forward like a tidal wave. In the chaos, people were trampled, suffocated. 9 souls were extinguished that night, 8 of them teenagers. The youngest was just 14 years old. In the aftermath, Combs dodged criminal charges, settling the lawsuits with a check that made the problem quietly go away. He then, incredibly, flipped the deadliest concert in New York history into an A&R gig at Uptown Records. Industry veterans watched in shock, calling it his baptism by body bag. It established a pattern that would define his career. It's like being in a burning building where everyone else is trapped, but Sean Combs always seems to have a personal, custom-built fire escape. Uptown, fatherhood, and the first domino. At Uptown Records, Andre Harrell, the label's founder, saw Combs' raw ambition and took him under his wing. He played the big brother mentor, handing the young intern the keys to the vault, and gave him a simple, elegant mission. Make this place feel like champagne on vinyl. Sean didn't just understand the assignment. He rewrote the rulebook. He signed the raw, soulful sounds of Jodeci and Mary J. Blige. And then he discovered a shy, overweight Brooklyn kid with a lyrical genius that would change music forever. Christopher Wallace, soon to be the notorious B.I.G. overnight. The intern became the executive, the face of a new generation. And the mentor who gave him his start? Andre Harrell died in May of 2020. The official cause was heart failure at the young age of 59. There was no autopsy, no major media investigation, just a weekend hashtag and a quiet burial. Then there's Heavy D, the very man who put Sean on that fatal City College stage. He collapsed in 2011, dying suddenly at 44. Doctors blamed a pulmonary embolism. Fans, already wise to the pattern, blamed the curse. It's a recurring theme, a corporate ladder where the rungs seem to be made of coffins, and Diddy is the only one wearing the climbing shoes. East Coast versus West Coast, the offer on tape. The year is 1996. The hip-hop world is a powder keg, split between East and West. In Las Vegas, Tupac Shakur leaves the MGM Grand after a Mike Tyson fight, his energy electric. He spots a Brooklyn entourage he doesn't trust, and the lobby cameras capture the moment. Tupac shouting, pointing, rushing forward. A scuffle breaks out. Hours later, on the glittering, indifferent strip of Flamingo Road, Pac's car is riddled with bullets. He's shot multiple times and dies 6 days later. For decades, the murder was a mystery. But in 2023, a grand jury leak brought a shocking accusation to light. A retired LAPD officer testified that Sean Combs had allegedly offered a Crips gang member $1 million for the murders of both Tupac and his label head, Suge Knight. The price was allegedly a cool million and a bad boy recording contract. The accusation hangs in the air like smoke from a discharged pistol, thick, suffocating, and impossible to ignore. But the hard evidence remains like a ghost. You can feel its presence, but you can't grab it. No charges have ever been filed against Combs in relation to the murder. Suge Knight, the man who survived that night, would later post a warning to the world from behind bars. "If you around Puffy, keep a will." The tweet vanished from his account, but the screenshot, like the suspicion, remains forever. Biggie's funeral march. The cycle of violence was not yet complete. 6 months to the day after Tupac was buried, his rival, Biggie Smalls, was in Los Angeles for a Vibe magazine party. As his SUV sat at a red light on Wilshire Boulevard, a dark Impala pulled alongside. A lone gunman fired, and Biggie was killed instantly. The driver and the car ghosted into the LA night, never to be definitively identified. The official investigation stalled, mired in theories and dead ends. LAPD files hinted at the involvement of a crooked cop, but no one was ever convicted. The civil suits, however, are like sharks in the water, constantly circling the same bad boy yacht, year after year. Biggie's own mother, Valletta Wallace, has maintained for decades that her son was deeply unhappy and wanted off the bad boy label in the weeks leading up to his death. He felt trapped. The pattern solidified itself into a grim, profitable equation. One death on the West Coast, followed by another on the East Coast, resulted in millions of posthumous record sales. It's a business model that turns tragedy into treasure and memorials into marketing campaigns. The women who knew too much. The circle of tragedy wasn't limited to business associates. It extended to the women who shared his life. Kim Porter, a talented actress, a beautiful model, and the mother to 3 of Sean's children, died suddenly in November 2018. She was just 47. The coroner's report cited lobar pneumonia as the cause, but her friends and family were suspicious. In the days before her death, they posted cryptic texts where she allegedly confessed she felt unsafe. The rumors intensified. Word spread that Kim had been keeping a manuscript, a book that was half memoir, half burn book, detailing her life inside the empire. That manuscript, supposedly stored in a safe, is now reportedly missing. Then came Cassie Ventura. In November 2023, the singer and Diddy's former long-term partner filed a bombshell federal lawsuit. It alleged a decade of abuse, coercion, and control, all enforced by a web of non-disclosure agreements. The world braced for a long, ugly legal battle. But the case vanished faster than a Snapchat message. It was settled out of court in less than 48 hours for an undisclosed but undoubtedly massive sum. The truth was locked away, and the price of silence was paid. It's like putting a digital lock on a diary, financed with just a fraction of $1 billion fortune. The label graveyard. For some artists, signing with Bad Boy was a ticket to stardom. For others, it was the beginning of the end. Craig Mack was the label's first star, the man who gave Bad Boy its first platinum plaque with the iconic Flavor in Ya Ear. He died in 2018 at the age of 46 from heart failure, living a reclusive life in a trailer park in South Carolina. In his final years, he was reportedly paranoid, refusing medical care because he believed they were coming for him. Then there was Black Rob, the voice behind the 2000 hit, Whoa! He died in 2021, just a week after being released from prison. He was broke, homeless, and sofa surfing. His last appearance on Instagram Live was a heartbreaking plea to his fans for rent money. A common thread connects their tragic ends. Both men had reportedly been shopping tell-all books about their time at Bad Boy. And just like Kim Porter's manuscript, their stories vanished like cursed artifacts, disappearing before anyone could read the inscriptions on the wall. Meanwhile, the catalog keeps spinning. Flavor in Your Ear and Whoa are still heard in arenas and on the radio, choruses echoing from a time when the artists were vibrant, now reduced to ghosts on a playlist. Raids, Rico, and The Room That Locks from Outside. The whispers and rumors that had followed Combs for 30 years finally culminated in a deafening crescendo. In March 2024, the facade of untouchability shattered. Homeland Security agents, armed with battering rams and federal warrants, kicked in the mansion doors of his properties in Los Angeles and Miami. The world watched as agents in tactical gear hauled out crates of evidence, including encrypted hard drives and electronics. The rumored indictment soon leaked, and the charges were staggering: racketeering, sex trafficking, and forced labor. Federal prosecutors began to paint a picture not of a record label, but of a criminal enterprise with a distribution deal, a mob family with better playlists and celebrity cameos. The allegations described a world of intimidation and control. Combs posted a colossal $50 million bond, flashed a peace sign to the news helicopters circling above, and made his next power move. He hired Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, the same attorney who defended Ghislaine Maxwell. It was a signal to the world and to the feds. If history is a map and the patterns hold true, the next stop is either a plea deal that silences everything or another name added to the list. If this story feels like a sprawling true crime documentary that you can't pause, it's because the updates keep coming faster than the gag orders and non-disclosure agreements. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because this is one story that is far from over. The prison roster. For every ghost that haunts the Bad Boy legacy, there's a living soul wasting away in a prison cell. The most famous is Shine. In a 1999 shooting inside Club New York, the Belizean rapper took the fall. While Combs, who was also arrested, was acquitted on all charges with the help of a dream team of lawyers, Shine was not so lucky. He took the gun charge and served 9 long years in prison. His career was destroyed. Then there's G-Dep, another Bad Boy artist. In 2010, plagued by a guilty conscience, he walked into a police station and confessed to a cold case murder he had committed years before he was famous. He was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. He later said in interviews that Combs, his former mentor and boss, ghosted his requests for help with his legal fund. For those in his closest circle, loyalty seems to be a 2-act play. Act 1 is a spectacular champagne toast on a private jet. Act 2 is a lonely, collect call from a prison phone with no one on the other end to accept the charges. I'll Be Sure and the Coma Clause. In 2022, another bizarre and terrifying incident occurred. The 80s R&B star Al B. Sure, who is also the father of Kim Porter's eldest son and her ex-partner, unexpectedly slipped into a coma. It lasted for 2 months. What was supposed to be a routine back surgery turned into a near-death experience. When he finally woke up, he discovered that an entire year of his life had been erased from his memory, like a corrupted hard drive. Shortly after his recovery, he appeared on an Instagram livestream, his speech slurred, but his message chillingly clear. He looked into the camera and said, "They tried to Harvey Weinstein me." Before he could elaborate, the stream cut to black. The clip vanished from the internet within an hour, scrubbed from existence. On the very same day, Sean Combs posted pictures from a tropical beach with the carefree caption, positive vibes only. It's the perfect metaphor, the same sky above, but two entirely different gravities at play. The fans who see the pattern. For decades, the mainstream media presented these events as isolated tragedies. But a new generation isn't buying it. Scroll through TikTok, and you will find an army of digital sleuths. Teenagers are stitching together old interviews, mugshots, and tombstones, all soundtracked by Diddy's own hit, I'll Be Missing You. The comment sections read like a massive crowdsourced conspiracy board. Red yarn, pushpins, screenshots of deleted posts, and receipts from old court documents. Gen Z doesn't call it a curse, they call it a pattern. They see a cast of characters that never seems to survive season 2 of the show. For them, the narrative isn't controlled by publicists or network news. The platform simply autoplays the next video, the next piece of evidence, and the bodies autofill the timeline. What the lawyers say? It's not just the kids on TikTok. Legal experts are now speaking up, connecting the dots in a way that the public can understand. Entertainment litigator Mitra Ahurayan stated on record, "Where there's this much smoke, somebody's either lighting matches or they're skipping the sprinklers." It's a polite way of saying the sheer volume of incidents defies coincidence. Former federal prosecutor Niyama Ramani, commenting on the federal raids, added a crucial piece of insight. RICO needs a pattern, not perfection. One more body, one more credible allegation, and a conspiracy case becomes textbook. The translation for that is simple and stark. To bring down an empire, the feds don't need to find a single smoking gun. They just need to prove that the same song of corruption, intimidation, and violence has been playing on repeat for 30 years. The final math. So let's do the final math. A career spanning over 3 decades. A personal net worth that has crested over $1 billion. And an average gap between major, life-altering incidents, a death, a high-profile arrest, a federal raid, of about 18 months. That is the rhythm, the sinister beat that has underscored his entire career. If this were a fictional TV series, critics would pan it for lazy, repetitive writing. They would call the plot unbelievable. Yet, the ratings just keep climbing. Because the public cannot look away from a game that feels so completely and utterly rigged. And in this game, after 33 years of play, the survivor count remains stubbornly, suspiciously at 1. Open-ended warning. So here we are, at the end of the timeline. We're left with sealed court files, cemetery plots, heavy with bad boy logos, and a billionaire under a form of mansion arrest, wearing an ankle monitor that likely costs more than your annual rent. Maybe every single tragedy is just a coincidence. The pneumonias and the heart failures, the drive-by shootings and the comas, the missing manuscripts and the sliced brake lines, the erased posts and the settled lawsuits. Maybe it's all just the cost of doing business in a dangerous world. Or maybe, just maybe, the price of dancing next to the throne is far steeper than any contract admits. You can ask Shine, serving his years in a cage. You can ask G. Depp, who will likely die in one. Or you can ask the ghosts of Kim, Andre, Craig, Biggie, and Pac. Their silence is the only honest bar left on the entire track. Before you chase the spotlight, before you sign on the dotted line, remember that some contracts are written in ink, and others, it seems, are written in blood.